Roopkund is not about Indiahikes. Even though it has changed the fortunes of Indiahikes, Roopkund is a trek that changed trekking in our country. If there was any one trek which has changed trekking to where it is today, it is Roopkund. So it's connected with Indiahikes, it's connected with the trek itself, and it is connected with trekking. So let me share the story with you. So when I first heard of Roopkund after seeing a newspaper cutting in the Hindu about some skeletons were found in the glacial tarn of Roopkund at about 15,000 feet, and the National Geographic had gone to explore it, and it was a huge archaeological find. So my friends and I decided we must do this trek. It is a great trek to do. At that time, when all this was going on, in my mind, and I'm talking about this is a period around 2005, 2006, 2007, around that period. It's going on in my mind that, I was benefiting a lot from trekking. Both, the joys of trekking, and even, in other ways, it was making me stronger, more resilient, and I was just very happy with trekking. And I wanted a country to trek. And amongst our friends, we would always talk, trekking is not, India, nobody treks. Hardly anybody treks. Information is scarce. And this is how it is going to stay. And I was absolutely not okay with it. And in my mind, it was playing at that time that it requires an organization to put up information. And that information can be used for going on treks on your own. And I knew that voluntary putting up information was not the way to go forward. So while we were planning the Roopkund trek, in my mind it was still going on that I will come back and I will document this trail. And so that anybody can go and do this trek. So while on the trek, this was playing in my mind. So my friends and I, in the year I think 2006 or 7, we did the Roopkund trek. It was a very successful trek. We went even up to Zunar Gully. We came back in all the snows and everything else. It was one of the most mind-boggling trekking experience I had done, despite having trekked for the past 10 years or so. And I came back, I was flabbergasted, but I wrote that guide. A guide on how to do the Roopkund trek on your own. And it was not a small guide. It went to 7,000, 8,000 words. It was a very detailed guide on how to do it on your own. And then people started, and I published it online. The moment I published it online, that guide became a sensation. And people started using that guide to do the trek on their own. And it brought about an immense change in trekking. Because at that time, and this is what the role Roopkund has played, is that people never imagined that they could mount high altitude treks which went above 15,000 feet on their own. It was unheard of in our country that you could do it, and here was a guide which was giving you a step-by-step process on how you could do it. And suddenly people started using that guide and started doing the Roopkund trek, from a trek where hardly in that entire season you would see maybe 20-30 people there. In a week we started seeing 20-30 people doing that trek, all following that guide. And people of the region were flabbergasted. They couldn't imagine what was happening to that Roopkund trek. And they would call me and ask me, what's happening? And I told them I just wrote a guide. They said, but it's unbelievable that kind of response this guide is having, because so many people are coming down there and they all take your name. So for me, I got that belief that trekking required authentic guides, credible information. And it gave me confidence that, credible information is the need of the hour to take trekking forward. And Roopkund was a very big evidence of that people started using that guide. And that's how I started thinking of Indiahikes. Actually, very seriously, though the thought was at the back of my mind, I thought we could launch an organization like Indiahikes, which could sponsor, the money earned out of it could sponsor the making of this online guides. So that's what Indiahikes started. So in year 2008 and onwards, Indiahikes was formally launched. But now the part 2 of the Roopkund story starts. So where do we launch Indiahikes? Because I had done this Roopkund trek and I had got such a good response, the local people were very fond of me and things like that, we launched Indiahikes on the Roopkund trail. So Roopkund became the first trek that Indiahikes started doing. So I started, conducting trails on Roopkund for trekkers in the way I visualized trekking had to be done. And over a period of time, people started trekking with the organization that I had started, Indiahikes. And more people started doing the Roopkund trek. And people were absolutely fascinated. People who have never trekked before in their life started to experience a high altitude trek like Roopkund. And you won't believe that in a period of 4 or 5 years, Roopkund became the most popular high altitude trek of our country. It was so popular that there were thousands of people doing that trek, and now Indiahikes was not alone. There were other trekking organizations also who were now set up their shops to run the Roopkund trek. And Roopkund was the trek of our country. People forgot every other trek. That village from where we started, which was an obscure village, Lohajang, high up in the valley, as a pass it was, at 7,500 feet, that village became active and buzzing with trekking activities. Homestay people started making their homes, villagers started making their homes into homestays. People started investing and making lodges over there, and that place became absolutely, buzz with trekking activity. And everyone was happy. The villagers are happy. They're earning a lot of money. We were happy because, trekking was taking off in our country, because this is where I say Roopkund has played such a big role. Indiahikes got that platform, and we got that confidence that we can grow from here on. And we started growing from here on, because more and more people were doing the Roopkund trek, and obviously the larger number wanted to do it with us, with Indiahikes. So Indiahikes started growing. The Roopkund trek from an unknown trek became India's most popular trek. The local region changed, but the significant difference was what it did to trekking in our country. Trekking was not a popular sport at all. But here, after Roopkund, after tasting Roopkund, people started developing the confidence that they could trek in our country, and they started talking about trekking. Trekking became a very good outdoor adventure for people to do. And the trekking culture started forming in our country, which was not there at all. The high altitude Himalayan trekking culture. Of course, we went on to launch Roopkund Pass, every other trek, Kedarkanta, and all of those things. But the seed was sown by the Roopkund trek. So the Roopkund trek, what it did was, in our country, it gave birth to a new trekking culture. So that's the relevance of Roopkund in our country. And of course, it gave, Indiahikes became Indiahikes because of Roopkund, because of the start that Roopkund gave. And today we are India's largest trekking organization. So it changed these two things. That it just changed trekking. The trek became a famous trek, and it changed Indiahikes also. So that's the story of Roopkund.